with even the type of mechanized directions that we have. In the interior, the feller buncher, cage, 24-hour-a-day operations that are occurring there are producing health and safety concerns of their own. They're not so much being killed by snags and those types of things, yes, but there's a lot of problems with the particular health of the operator because of the types of sedentary working environments that they're in. So that is one of the things that I'd like to push back on this. The other thing is, with our experience, is when you slow the logging operation down, when you do not have to produce such a large volume of timber per day to pay for your machine costs, to pay for that loan, to add another story or two on some bank tower, to pay the actual initial purchase price for the machine, and a lot of that cost, by the way, a lot of that resource dollar is certainly leaving our communities, if not our country, and also pay for the fuel. We find we're only taking out maybe 10, 15, 20 trees a day. And when you scale the operation down to that, you take your time. You have the opportunity to do things in ways that would improve the safety conditions for the loggers in the bush. Now, there are some timber types where I certainly think safety can be a problem. Some of the older growth stands, some of the ladder succession stands where there's a lot of snags and those kinds of things, especially in coastal situations. Snags in the interior are a lot less of a problem, and variances within WCB are even being looked at for particular research needs. But generally, we've been getting this now over the last while. Well, because the first argument against why it wasn't going to work in the Quesnel area was, well, the economics aren't there. You can't make a living at it. Well, after a couple of years, and there's horse loggers still existing and still, doing fairly well, they had to drop that argument. Then they started talking about, well, it's not possible in all these different timber types. You have to be just strictly in IDF, interior Douglas fir zones. Well, when we started leaving private landowners in a variety of different subzones, different timber types, intact, to withstand some of the major winds that our area has, those kinds of things, those concerns dropped from the list of excuses as to why it can't be done. And now we're hearing a lot more of the safety. So I think it's just another one in the bag of excuses as to why it can't be done. I would say, show me, really the stats on that. Thanks.
Okay, before we go any farther, what I'd like to ask of you people out there now, as the concerned citizens who arranged this meeting have gone to considerable personal expense to put the show on. So there are some baskets over here which we're going to pass around, and we'd ask that you make some donations to help defray those expenses. Some have already done so. That's all right. More, you respond to the Ministry of Forests and other ministries, the more vocal you are, the more ways you can find to focus attention and get the ear of these people, the more surely we will have sanity prevail in our forest resource use.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Helenius, and my whole existence has been derived from the forest my whole life. And I don't have a question, and I agree with all that's being said. And the comment on the safety in the forest industry, I think the machinery that's used in the clear-cut industry is much more dangerous than in selective logging, because of what this fellow at this end said. The process is slowed down so much, and when you have machinery that's traveling at high speeds, there's a big risk. And also on the concern about the steep slopes, I've done a lot of hand logging, And the steep slopes was to my advantage when I was logging because it was gravity that I was using to get the wood out of the bush. So I think the steep slopes could be looked at from a different perspective without machinery. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to have a treat. I can see